Hi, today I'm talking about compact system cameras, also known as ILCs or CSCs, and as you can see there's a large number of them. The compact system camera market is the fastest growing sector of the photography market, and is supposedly designed to bridge the gap between the higher quality and interchangeable lenses of digital SLRs and the more convenience of a compact camera. As you can see, there's a lot of different models on the market, and I'm going to be talking you through all the different systems available within the compact system camera sector and with the basic pros and cons and a rundown of each one. Now, before I go into specific models of compact system camera, a word or two about why they vary so much in size. As you can see, they go from quite small to much larger. Now, the single biggest reason for that is the size of the sensor employed in the camera. There's no standard sensor used in compact system cameras, and they vary a lot from the quite small to the much larger sensors. And I've decided to represent these sizes using Lego. Obviously these are not to scale, but they are proportional to each other. And I've used Lego because it's quite a good demonstration, and each one of these little dimples represents a millimetre. And obviously I've had to round up and round down to the nearest millimetre, but this gives you an idea of the relative sizes of the sensors used in compact system cameras. Now, to start with, this sensor here represents the sensor in a typical smartphone, such as an iPhone. As you can see, the smallest of the compact system cameras, the Pentax Q system, uses a sensor which is bigger than the sensor used in a smartphone, but not massively bigger. This is a typical sensor, in fact, used in most compact cameras, although there are 2 or 3 other different sizes used by compacts as well. Now, the Nikon One system uses a much larger sensor, a 1-inch sensor, and you can see proportionally it's a significantly larger sensor than the one in this camera, even though the camera itself is not that much bigger. And then we move on to the micro four thirds cameras like Olympus and Panasonic, and this represents a micro four thirds sensor compared with the Nikon One sensor, and as you can see it's that much bigger again. And then finally we have the APS-C sensor used in most consumer digital SLRs and in quite a few systems within the compact system camera sector, and you can see that's the biggest sensor of all. And so this is the APS-C size sensor, this is the micro four thirds sensor. So going from APS-C to micro four thirds to Nikon One to Pentax Q, you can imagine when you put the Pentax Q sensor next to the APS-C sensor, look how much bigger the sensor in the Fuji X Pro 1 is, for example, than the sensor in the Pentax Q. And that gives you some idea why the image quality from the Fuji X Pro 1 is going to be that much better than that from the Pentax Q, and also why the camera is so much bigger. We're going to go from smallest system to largest system in terms of sensor size, which means we kick off with the Pentax Q10, which has a 12.4 megapixel sensor, quite small, so image quality won't be as high as some of the others here, but it's still quite a nice, cute little camera, and it does have things like shake reduction, it does have full HD video on there, and there's a range of 5 lenses available, including one fisheye lens, 2 toy lenses, which are manual focus kind of fun lenses, fairly inexpensive. Because the sensor is so small, getting shallow depth of field can be quite challenging with cameras like this. So to compensate for that, Pentax has added a thing called a bokeh feature, which artificially creates that shallow depth of field look, although I have to say it doesn't work very well. Next we have the Nikon One system. There are currently 3 models in the Nikon One system range, the S1, the J3 shown here, and the V2 shown here. Now the V series cameras all have built-in electronic viewfinders. Now the Nikon One system is packed full of very clever technology. For example, they can shoot at 60 frames a second at full resolution, or 15 with full autofocus. There are features like the Smart Photo Selector, in which it shoots a very fast burst of photographs, up to 20 pictures, and then presents to you what it thinks are the best ones for you to choose from. And you get features like slow motion video, and there's also a mode which combines a little bit of slow motion video with a still picture to give you that moving picture kind of thing you get in the Harry Potter movies. Altogether a very clever system, but if you like to do photography traditionally with all the manual exposure settings and manual control over everything, these are a little bit frustrating to use because they don't really offer that kind of user friendliness.